Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of the 11th Ornament Adventures thereof. I don't really have a great title. I know the party's called the 11th Ornament. This series is called something, something, something 11th Ornament. Anyways, welcome everyone. We are jumping back into tonight's session. Got a couple of people absent tonight. Actually, still waiting on Jerry and Chavis. They're going to be a little bit late, apparently. And Cameron won't be joining us at all this evening. He has, real life. So it does sometimes happen, unfortunately, but there you have it. Previously on the 11th tournament, actually, I'm going to take this opportunity while we're waiting on Jerry and Chavis to go through some disclaimers and announcements and legal stuff. Thank you all for tuning in, all of you. All of our art on this channel is provided by either Wizards of the Coast, Dungeon Draft, or Hero Forge. So if you're interested in how we kind of put this together, it's a combination of those things. I'll be sure to put together a list of the various incredible artists on Patreon that I use in addition to that for maps and items and whatnot. They include Champeku, Griffin Saddlebag, Sinclair, and Crossheed Studios, who does excellent assets for Dungeon Draft if you want to make your own maps and the like. We use Hero Forge for all of the character miniatures, and aside from that, we do use a lot of art provided via MTG artists or Wizards of the Coast directly. So our music is provided by Ivan, maybe? Could be Ivan. I really don't know. I hope I'm not butchering this person's name. Ivan Duch. D-U-C-H. I'm really butchering it. Incredible soundtracks available via Foundry VTT module. They also have a Patreon. You should go check it out if you like what you hear. They have a ton of great offerings that can just really set the scene. For me, the game can't be enjoyed without music as the background. Setting the scene and making that emotional power. So, huge shout out to them, and I will be sure to put together that shout out blurb to put beneath our videos when we go live on YouTube. Previously, on the 11th Ornament, party had returned to Port Nyanzaru after accidentally awakening a Titan in Snowdown.
Before we continue, is Sid's mic cutting out for anyone else?
Sure
It
is.
It is for me.
Cool. Probably is doing that for the stream too. Hi everybody.
Right. Will, you're the DM now.
Oh no.
No, I'll do it.
Welcome
That's
everyone
fine.
to
I
the
got
world
this.
of Strixhaven. Glad you guys. Oh wait, sorry.
Oh.
That's soon.
I don't know how to make it not do that, because I don't know what might be causing it to do that.
Is it?
you
If you might have
good?
said it's a joke, but was it? Is it that it needs to be charged? Is the battery just low?
I don't know. Is that the problem? Can you hear me now?
I mean,
I heard a buzz, and you're more clear now.
Well, I pushed the microphone a little closer to my face too. Can you hear?
well, maybe that's why it wasn't.
I wonder if I've got something on one of the many layers of things that are making sure I'm being recorded that is trying to like filter out non-voice sounds.
But also is always trying to register all sounds at the same time.
Yeah, whatever it's doing,
And is
it's doing
also
it
actively
poorly.
trying to remove your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my voice is very non-voice sounding, apparently.
Ah, allegedly.
Allegedly. Has it been pretty
It's
clear?
Really, it has been since you moved closer to your face. It's been more clear.
Okay, we're gonna go with it in the hopes that that solves it.
And I stopped you before you did any kind of recap, so you can just start at the very beginning of the recap.
You know what?
Why I did it
You
that
know what?
way.
You know what's really great? I don't have to do the recap because our one and only
Jerry's going
note taker has arrived in the chat. Jerry, why don't you take us away with previously on the 11th Ornament?
Thank you for this great opportunity. Oh, wondrous, kind DM.
I know it's your favorite thing.
Uh-huh.
Just you look forward to it all week.
Uh-huh. Okay, so because I was not immediately available at the beginning, hopefully I have the stuff. So from my notes, I don't know what happened at the very beginning. I just know that the things that I took notes on had to do with me going to we met and we were in the Black Cat Inn. Bale talked about wanting to contact spirits. Before Alucard left to go on his escapade. Well, contact God, sorry, and he gathered a bunch of materials and was not that successful or did not get the thing he intended.
Oh, didn't intend anything. He got exactly what he expected.
Oh, for a minute I thought you meant Alucard. It's like, I think Alucard got exactly what he
No.
intended.
Also, Alucard got exactly what he expected.
Alucard went to the Thundering Lizard and met up with Amari Stormfang. And they had a good time together.
Amorous relations.
Uh-huh. Then the next day, Alucard returns to Black Cat Inn, but on his way there, several members of the 11th Ornament went to the Grand Soak to buy materials prior to leaving Port Nyanzuru to go back to the Moon Chase for the purposes of the negotiations. We also, let's see, during a team meeting, Patak, who is Jim's counterpart, joins us. Kawasha is uncomfortable in Port Nyanzuru. The Black Cat Inn owes about 20,000 gold pieces to the bank because a loan was taken out to keep them afloat. Jim needs a new routine because he keeps trying to sell stuff. Patak basically says that they are making money to pay off the loan, but the Black Cat is generally not bringing a profit. There are some male drow that defected from the Society of Menzo Brands and works with the Harpers occasionally and may be able to help us. They were last seen in Waterdeep under the guise of a circus. We were I don't know what else happened because that's all I took on my notes. Oh, Thays Selim Chant, I probably said the last name wrong, is the Emperor of Am.
Yes, Thays Selim Chant is the Emperor of Am. So to recap a little bit back before that, the party had gone on a brief detour to investigate a labyrinthine maze beneath one of the ziggurats in the old city of Port Nyanzuru, but they had originally come to Port Nyanzuru in an effort to take a breather from the fact that they had awakened an ancient titan that has somehow made its way back into Toril after having been banished by the overgod Ao. This titan is running amok and essentially taking over the Moonshae Isles with incredible amounts of natural growth that is overcoming civilization and society. The party has scheduled or been invited to a confluence of political leaders who have vested interest in said island, and they intend to visit the Bay of Snowdown, which is near a civilization that they whose leader they assassinated recently. Just have to go back and watch to see what happened. So they are headed over to the Bay of Snowdown to meet with the Emperor of Am, Thays Selim Chant, and the King of the Folk, Dared Kendrick, High King. At least those two people. This has been arranged by one of our player characters' sisters, Esvel, who is something of a puppet master amongst political figures. She's a diplomat and a powerful enchantress. And they are seeking to curry favor with these political figures and get them to realize that no one can win so long as the Titan is relevant on the Moonshade Islands. So, this morning is the morning when the party awakens and is preparing to head to the island of Snowdown by way of transport via plants, which their druid friend, who used to be a member of the party, will cast for them, allowing them to quickly transport back to the archipelago and meet with the monarchs that be or their representatives in order to broker a peace and arrange some sort of plan as to how to deal with the Titan. Did I miss anything, guys?
We did discuss like having Obe cast Windwalk and then cast the transport via plant spell, so that we would have it for
that will
8
almost
hours.
absolutely be necessary because you get the impression it'd be very dangerous for Obe to cast transport via plants to a plant that is near Care Westfall, the capital where the summon was tightened.
The summon was tightened.
Yep, I heard me.
So he could take us to he could put us on the road to Care Westfall because he has teleported people there before. A tree that's like near the road that goes into Care Westfall.
Yes. I was thinking you'd want to be put closer back to like the tree from whence you left, the old Druid Grove far to the north.
Okay.
But Obe can put you wherever you asked to be put.
Yeah, if we windwalk first, I think that's probably just going to be our safest option. And then we did some general shopping, Chavis
Yes.
and I, and we sat down to prepare communication
Yes.
with the Emperor.
The letter has been drafted to the politicians.
Point
the
of
monarchs.
production here, Sid.
Mhm.
Can you get your camera on our Skype call?
That was what we were talking about at the beginning.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Kind of. I can
Put the
plaster
screen.
the stream. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I normally do.
Yeah, because
I
we
would like
can't
to
see
vote for
your
that.
facial reactions real time.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It is better than nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Can you see me
Thank
now?
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll have to come up with something. As we have discovered on several occasions, Skype is just not the best. But it's the it's the least
I
worst.
hate Skype.
Yeah. For what we're trying to do, it's just the least worst. All right.
So, since Chavis isn't here, Bell finishes speaking the words, and Ekin writes the last kind of stroke, and then signs his name and says, "Would anyone else?" In fact, I won't phrase that as a question. Please come sign this.
Do you want me to sign that?
Are you part of the 11th Ornament?
I mean,
Yes,
Am
come
I?
sign it.
okay, great. I do that thing. I sign it.
Dorn looks it over, having been instrumental in drafting it as well, and I suppose signs it.
Yeah, no, I'm certain that Will thought of something to add in, but I can't think of it right now, so that means that Vale will just say it whenever he thinks of it later on,
Okay.
and he will go ahead and sign it too.
All right.
So should I be using the specific last name?
I did not use my full name. I just put Eken.
Okay. And Alucard signs. He will sign with his actual last name, not his
Oh, Jerry,
pseudonym.
you're not at your computer.
That's-
I was like, why
Yes,
is
I'm
it?
sorry.
Okay. Are you changing your shirt of invisibility?
No, but I can do that because I forgot that my shirt was blue. So I will most certainly do that. Yes.
After signing, Eken will walk over to the bar and grab some lard that we keep for very basic cooking purposes. Not much of that goes on around here. But he will put it on a piece of wood that he worked on last night, kind of
Oh.
carving away a symbol that had been discussed, something that represents the party, and he will go back and fold the 2 letters of intent, and then melt sealing wax over them and impress upon them the seal of the 11th ornament.
All right. A great big O with 2 slashes for 11. The kind of ornamental line down the center, emblazoned there. As you press the seal into each letter, comes up pretty clean for a wood carved implement, all things considered. It is at this point that Obe steps out. Good morning. Are you quite ready for what lies ahead?
I believe
Yep.
so.
Let's get on. Honestly, I'm really antsy about this. Let's go, please.
All right. We will go now. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Okay. Listen, all things considered, if it doesn't go well, at least they're just people. Your primary objective is still the Titan. So, you should really think about this as kind of the skirmish before the battle.
I'm going to miss that optimism.
Okay. Come on, let's go out to the courtyard. And he leads you out into the main courtyard. Here where there is a massive pitcher plant, like Chilton jungle sized pitcher plant, growing from just the rainwater runoff out here in the courtyard. As you all head out, Obe stands before it. Okay. You begin spinning wind, and you can feel each of your bodies slowly lose its weight over the course of about a minute as he is spinning this spell, and these druidic runes are kind of flying from his hands. And the chant low under his breath in Old Chilton, mostly clicks and guttural sounds. As your bodies become made of wind, and you all become vaporous, cloud-like beings capable of immense speed. You kind of standing there looking at one another, you can see various distinguishing marks. You can tell which person is which, but only just barely based on the various physical attributes. All right, to the Druid Grove. And he opens a portal via transport via plant. Another very powerful druidic spell, having pretty much spent 2 of his most expensive spell slots just this morning helping you guys get back to this meeting. As the pitcher plant opens its maw, and a portal stretches out within bright light. Each of you uh, soars in your vaporous forms.
Order the Phoenix style.
Yes. That's a different campaign.
Yeah. I imagine that the portal opens up and the druids are expecting us to come through and have a chat before we're on our way, but I don't know about the rest of the party, but he can just flies
As
out
you
as soon as
soar
we
out,
see the.
expecting to find yourselves in the druidic circle that you left just yesterday morning, you come
What do you
out
mean?
into what appears to be an absolutely ancient deciduous forest. Redwoods and great elder box and um, enormous maple trees are all around you, so close that a cart would not be able to navigate between them. Limbs and branches seem to have already grown, rotted, and fallen. Trees larger than any you've ever seen have already been through their entire life cycle and are now covered in moss, beginning to decompose on the forest floor. It just appears as though this forest, which is gargantuan in size, has been here for hundreds of years. And you'll recall that before you left, Snowdown had been overforested. Or Eliza had, there were only small saplings anywhere on the island because the previous ruler had oversapped the land to an extreme. So you come out and recognize nothing when you first, all of you come out. There is no one here to wait for you. You come out into an empty glade is a strong word. It's barely a gap between these massive trees, vines dripping down from enormous branches that must span hundreds of feet across. It is dim light from a dense canopy of deciduous trees. You can just see the light kind of dappled from the sun above, making its way through various layers down to the forest floor.
Okay, flying straight up, getting above this tree line.
As your wind form pushes through the leaves and out above the canopy. You spook a number of birds. A flock
There are
of birds.
birds.
There are birds. And as you
Okay.
see them, they are massive. They appear to be related to ravens or crows, perhaps, but the size of eagles. And as they... a murder of them, if you will. A copse is startled by your movement, and as they flit away, you can see out now over a dense mist which hangs over these massive trees. And as you look off to the south, let me get the moonshade map here. As you look off to the south, towards Care Westfall, you can see a towering mountainous growth. Now you know, to your right you can see the Andover Heights mountains which climb up, and you can still see barely the snow-capped rocky peaks which push out from this massive forest, spanning downward to your right. But in the direction of the city, there are trees that grow even taller than those mountains. And you know that not to be because of the terrain, because it's relatively flat as it descends to the sea. You know that if this rise of vegetation has to be entirely trees, fauna, flora, I should say. And they rise up even higher, rivaling the stony peaks to your right. And you can see small clouds of flying creatures around these trees, and recognize that in order for you to be able to make out their individual forms or their even clouds of creatures flying around these trees from this distance, they must be enormous. The size of wyverns or dragons, at least. Looking around, you can barely see the lake to your left as you're looking south. Harlock. If you fly up high enough, you can catch a glint of morning sun off of the silvery surface, but the vegetation has encroached so heavily all around it that it is a puckered space rather than the lush grasslands that once surrounded Harlock. Is everyone else also flying up to? Because I'm not going to say it again.
I would like you to say it all again, please.
Okay, sure. As you fly up through the canopy. Just kidding.
Oh, good. I startled the same birds or different birds? Did they come back?
I was gonna fly underneath actually, just to give like a completely different explanation of the scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
Wait,
no,
I think I got
never
this.
mind.
I think I got
Never
this. I
mind.
think
I'll stay with the group.
There's a tree, and then another tree, and then another tree,
Mhm.
and then a whole bunch of other trees.
All about like this close.
Luckily, I can go through spaces that are within
Because
with
you are
1
made
inch.
of
Yeah,
cloud stuff.
I'm a small cloud.
Very small.
You're a big cloud to me. In my heart.
Relevant.
Okay. Oh boy.
I will, because Mathis isn't here, and this would have been smart and he would have known this, I will, for his benefit, have used the Mind Master's monocle to cast telepathic bond amongst you, because otherwise you have absolutely
I
zero
was
way to
thinking the same
communicate
thing.
while in mist form. So before embarking on this journey, which you know is going to involve you flying as cloud form and being unable to communicate otherwise, he will have expended the charges and targeting all of you, included you in a mental link so that you can all communicate freely, telepathically with one another. So as the rest of you soar through the now massive crevice created in the trunk of a tree below where you've all come out into this space, what would you like to do next?
What's the direction of where we're meeting?
Yeah, so you are here at the old Druid's Grove, which had been abandoned. You're heading to the bay.
Oh, I feel like that's a very bad idea, actually. But okay.
This is where apparently the meeting is taking place.
Whose idea was that?
Have
Well,
just
it
as
was
a
different.
refresher.
What?
From our in-between session, do I not have that spell slot that I used for S-Spell for the...
That's correct.
Okay.
That would have been this morning.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Not 32, 2.
I have a more detailed map of Snowdown that you guys are familiar with from pre-stream, but it is I don't know who authored it, drew it, and so I can't pull it up.
So, hey team. This bad.
Yes, and we need to go now.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and do that, but as we're going, how realistic is it that we're going to be able to actually hold this meeting where we plan to meet?
I'm gonna fly. Well, based on the fact that the lake hasn't been overtaken by plants, I am hopefully safely assuming that the ocean has not been taken over by plants either.
If Esfel had wanted us to meet somewhere else, she would have. When I messaged her, she would have been relieved and told me where to meet. So
But
she,
has she
that was to,
scouted this already, though? Are we the first to
She
have
didn't
scouted this?
leave.
Oh.
We left and she didn't.
Well, who knows what she does?
She's been here the whole time. The whole time.
Maybe not. Maybe I might have left as well, but like,
Point is, even if we do, I mean,
we
that
don't have a
big ol'
we don't
lump-
have a good way to discuss that with anyone. That
Sure.
communication is not a thing, so we have to assume. We can't just assume that
Sure.
we're not going to meet. So
And it took
for
just
now,
a day for all of these trees and those over there to become the size of those mountains. So we need to go.
Oh, I am not disagreeing by any means. I'm just questioning the ability of us to live if we decide to pop out right next to where the shit hit the fan.
I think
Yeah.
water is something that is an obstacle to it.
Well, let's we'll see, because right now we're relatively safe, just like swing wide, right?
We'll see.
Okay, what is your speed in law cloud form?
I don't know.
You-
it's
no
on my
one
spell
has that
DM.
spell anymore.
You've got the spell.
Oh, it's like I'm the dungeon master. I'm supposed to know stuff.
I think
Hey.
it's like an obscene amount.
It
Like
is.
Yeah, it's real
300.
fast.
Hey,
I-
Dungeon Master.
I don't. I could be. I think it might be 300 dashing, but I think that it's 300.
Wind
300
walk.
dashing feels slow.
300 feet.
300
Says
feet, so you
600
can
dash.
dash and
And
then.
all you can do is dash, effectively.
Hmm.
Okay. I don't have a way to.
Hey, go ahead and math it.
6,000 per minute.
What?
6,000 feet per minute.
So,
It's obscene.
so with a 30-foot movement speed, basically you just take your normal movement speed and multiply it by 10, right? If you
So
can
we
normally
dash.
make.
Yeah, except, and if you're gonna go with the travel rules, I would argue, if that's what you're going for, that travel rules have things like friction and like the weight of your gear and all
Sure,
of that
sure.
included
So-
with that.
If you could normally go, and then we'll just do dash for free, so it's times 20. Normal travel speed times 20, right? So if you can normally go, what is it? 24 miles in a day,
24 miles a day.
3 miles per hour. You can now go 60 miles per
60
hour.
miles per
That
hour.
was
yeah.
that was the math that he already did
Oh,
at the beginning of all
great
this.
work.
When you
I didn't hear that.
effectively, actually not quite. It was a little bit faster than 60 miles an hour realistically, but
20 minutes to get
Yeah.
20 miles. Great news.
1 mile per minute. Yes. We should just remember that. for
it
later
is.
on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the safe number even then.
Okay. So, what are you doing with all this speed and
Uh,
power?
Going to the meeting
Trying to
spot.
find the boats.
Yeah, and if we're going that fast, I'll fly up too to try and get advantage on the ocean and see.
Oh man. And then we're gone as soon as he flies up.
Yeah, these luminous white wisps, all in sequence. Take off, soaring upwards, incredible speed, dashing across the terrain. As you look down and see the forests and trees roll by beneath you, you can make out between the trees every now and again enormous behemoth beasts, the likes of which haven't been seen on Toril in mass in a very long time. Prehistoric mammals and dinosaurs as well, but also completely normal beasts that seem to have been caught up in the magic of this growth and been modified to be dire feral. You can see creatures you've literally never seen before, as if time and evolution have sped up massively adaptation of some creatures. You see the serpapard. You see, like I said, dinosaurs, other enormous mammals, as you make your way over the trees towards the south. As you fly kind of down, having flown up to have an upward advantage coming towards the bay, you can see that Caer Westfall is now about 4 trees. As big around as small mountains, towering up from the place from whence Cernunnos was raised. Great redwood trees, massive trunks, branches that spread out the size of small cities. And in and amongst them, you can see enormous birds. They seem to be the native bird varieties, but just in incredible sizes, incredible scale. And you can see them kind of flapping around and in clouds almost around these trees. Although as you soar over, you see no sign per se of the Titan himself, the horned god. Make a perception check for me.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
With my actual real life dice.
Do it.
We're going analog today. I forgot this was my destiny dice.
Destiny.
I didn't even get my expertise on that because I haven't taken the Oni form.
22 is good.
22!
22 is good. Alucard, that tracks. Did Vale roll?
Sorry, I got distracted because Max was typing in chat. Which is why I shouldn't have that open.
Max.
Hi, Max. JOP.
Yes.
He's alright.
14.
Okay. Two of you, Iken and Tur, you can see congregation, essentially, deep between the boughs of these trees, down near their bases, where they almost come together. They've grown so large that they've merged at their base, where once there was the city of Caer Westfall. And all around the massive base of this tree, between the limbs and the canopy, you can see normal animals. Fox, deer, just woodland animals. They are behaving very strangely, though. They are not participating in predatory behavior. They are kind of milling about aimlessly.
It seems that the regular wildlife that was present before the tightening has
Tightened it right up.
lost its ability to function. I'm surprised that they are unaffected.
Yeah.
Seems like they're quite affected.
Anyone with a wisdom spellcasting ability, including Iken, can make a we'll call it an intuition check. It'll just be wisdom, non-proficiency.
Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's good.
Oh, is that it?
Sounds
That's
like a
just
weird
you
way
two?
to say a non-proficient insight check, but okay.
Yeah. Well, it's not really insight per se, but sure.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Is it just the two of you?
It is like
Yeah, I think-
natural insight, which is not it's like a
Long
it's like
distance animal
you need to be
handling.
proficient in both
Long
nature
distance animal
and,
handling.
insight to
That's
add-
what it is.
Ooh, that's a fun idea. But you don't get enough proficiencies to make that work. Never mind.
Vale, you get the distinct impression that the creatures below aren't local wildlife that has just been sprung into existence, but rather they used to not be wildlife and don't know how to do it. They used to be domestic life, domestic humanoid citizens, and are very unclear as to how to be.
Oh,
Yeah, there we
no.
go. There's the shoe that dropped. Here's the reason why the druids don't want this.
Wait a second. Stop. Pause.
Probably.
Stop. Pause. Okay. Game paused.
Guys, I'm sorry. Maybe I just did. Maybe I
Those are
didn't
people,
misunderstand.
Jerry. Those are people.
You're a
He
people.
He Cersei'd the people. How did that happen?
Because he's a titan. You literally like gave the best example of exactly how it happened.
Right. You're right.
What's Cersei?
The
Cersei
actual like
in
the
the-
Greek mythology.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
in the Odyssey,
I think so.
Cersei turned all of
Them into
the guy.
pigs.
Who's the guy that went to save Helen of Troy?
Odysseus.
Odysseus. Sorry.
You know,
Odysseus.
the Odyssey.
All of yeah.
Yeah, Odysseus. He turned all his like crewmates into pigs or something.
And he
For
had
some
to
reason,
bear
my
their-
brain went to Lannister.
Cersei
Yeah.
Lannister.
I know.
Yeah.
The exact reason that you'd expect it to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was already been there. Thinking about the.
Okay, so what we have discovered. Hold on, because this is a note-taking situation.
Yeah, no.
We just
Vale
did you-
like stops like in like and like it's like wait like you guys are like almost a mile away from him, has to have you
Right.
come back. It's like no, I need you to like watch them. Like I caught a glimpse and was like, wait, that looks weird. Wait, that looks really weird. Wait, that looks really weird, and like shows you that.
because you're all
these aren't-
connected via telepathy right now, you can kind of impart more than just words to them as you're explaining
Mhm.
what you observed and why it was jarring to you, and bring everyone around to the realization that these were once the citizens of Care Westfall.
That buck just tripped over a log. It has 10 horns. It should be more coordinated than that, to some degree.
So this Titan turned people into animals.
That is my. If I had to hazard a guess,
Well, that's got to be better than killing them at least, right? Like,
Well, I assume that these now animal things are probably being preyed upon by the rather large beasts we've been passing. So,
yeah, let's
That's
keep going.
bad.
bad. That's a good word. Alucard, bad. Yes.
well, for what it's worth, I'm
Really
sure that
wraps
they'd
it up.
be being preyed upon either way. It's not just
True.
because they're animals.
True, but you would know how to at try. You know what? This is not the time for a philosophical conversation. We need to go.
I assumed we were still going after we got bail.
You know,
There's no Titan. We see no Titan. Nothing.
You do not see the horned god Cernunos within the massive foliage. You don't know if perhaps he is slumbering or tucked away. He is
Are
of
we
such a
gonna go
size as to
over
rival.
the big trees?
Hey, big
I don't know.
boss.
Are you gonna go over the big trees?
Are I okay?
Or
I don't think I was asking you.
Jonathan Davis
I'm sorry.
has joined the
I
party.
just have a
Hello.
hey, John,
Hello.
Chavis.
Hey Jonathan, are we gonna go over the big trees?
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
absolutely.
Let's go.
Hey,
That's all we need to
hey, this is a
know.
perfect opportunity for me to get another whiskey and for everyone else to fill Jonathan in on what happened really quickly.
We're going over the big
We're a
trees.
plant. We're
What?
well,
No,
we're-
less quickly than that.
there's
So,
lots of trees.
Jerry will do this for you.
So very important key things. We left Port Nyanzaru before we were turned into wind by Obe and transported via plants. You casted Rory's telepathic bonds so we could talk to each other while we're wind. Then we went through the transport via plant spell to the druid circle that's in the Moonchase to find that everything has gone prehistoric in terms of plant life. All the plants are humongous. We then proceeded to fly up into the air to look at a top-down view. Things are crazy. Point. And we notice, well, we don't notice, Vale notices that some of these animals don't seem to know how to be animals. It was then deduced that some of these animals are in fact the people who used to live in Care Westfall. They were turned into animals.
Don't like that.
Yeah, and then there are new animals here, like large prehistoric animals, not dinosaurs, but like large animals who
No,
are actual
Jerry,
animals.
No, there are dinosaurs. He said there are dinosaurs.
Oh, so there are, okay.
In
So
addition,
there are dinosaurs. So this is prehistoric time. We're in Jurassic Park right now. And that's where we are, trying to understand how life works.
And there is a big
life finds a way.
part of the forest that where where Care Westfall used to be, that, is sea level, but still the trees that have grown there are now taller than the Andover Height Mountains to our right. So that's what I meant by are we going over the trees, and thank you for your direction because you gave the answer I wanted to hear. So
I'm
Yep.
always here for you specifically. Everyone individually, but also you specifically.
thank you, Jonathan. Wow.
Wow, such a friendship.
My
Very
camera
well.
will turn momentarily. I'm changing clothes and don't think everybody wants to see that.
I mean,
That's
I
fair.
mean, you're wrong, but
Well, TOS and whatnot. For you guys, yes, but
oh yeah,
I guess that's fair.
great point.
What you got, Willie?
I was about to say, fun fact: Mason and Jonathan have never met.
that's also very true.
Oh wow,
Not
is
in
that
person.
true?
We've met every Sunday for the past 2.5 years.
It's almost 3 years now, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so as you're soaring southward from the Druid's Grove to the bay outside of Care Westfall. It can wonders to the party at large, telepathically, if you should try and skirt the totem that has grown up the edifice of plant life that has overtaken Care Westfall, or if you should soar directly over the towering branches.
We should absolutely.
When you
Soar
say
around.
totem, it sounds
just
like
a
it means a different
descriptor.
thing. Okay.
Yeah, I was all about it until
Yeah.
you said totem.
No, I
It's
was
kind
all
of
about it
so it
because
feels. You get the impression it feels like a holy symbol to Cerneros, right? It's just a great big tree, though. There's no carving. It doesn't look like a treant. I'm not trying to throw you off here. It was just a description.
Hey, let's go around.
But Jonathan said you could go over.
Whichever decision we make, Vale will be the closest to it once we cross past it.
Wait, I've got it. One
should
is
go-
going around.
Under.
All right, we're going over. That's my
All right.
vote.
How much? So you can move at a mile a minute in wind walk. How much berth would you like to give it overhead?
I would like to not be directly next to it.
We can fly
Stay
about
away
a mile
from-
over it.
A mile.
Oh no,
Oh,
That's really
oh
far
wow.
in the air.
mile. Yeah, that's a whole lot of distance.
Like
Uh,
atmospherically, you really begin to
yeah. We don't have to worry about breathing, but
Okay.
lose
quarter
constitution
mile
as a
over it.
cloud
Out of-
form.
Do a
So-
quarter mile.
but like
Okay, a
Generally,
quarter
just out
mile.
of threatening,
40
like,
feet
out of
is a
threatening
far distance.
I'm
We will-
scared.
We will
I know.
go
So
far
out
enough
of
to
threatening
where
distance of the birds.
yeah, we will go far enough to where a
Okay.
big meaty Cernanos claw can't fuck us up when we go over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Make a quick survival
Math
check.
check.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, and I'm
Oh,
totally cool.
that
I will.
shouldn't
I
be
will
me.
still say that Vale will be the one
All of
closest,
us
so
or
I'm
just one
comfortable.
Whoever's
no, I'm
leading
doing it.
the pack.
Okay, all right. So what's you said survival?
Yeah.
Survival. Where the fuck is that on my thing?
Very bottom.
Hey,
Alphabetically.
good news. I'm proficient. So instead of an unnatural 1, it's a 5.
All right. Yeah, you feel like you're high enough out of the way of a Cernanos claw.
Hell yeah, I'm going. Let's go, dude. Easy.
For sure. As you all approach, it's just mind-boggling to you. As you get closer and closer, you realize how far away you were. But like the trees are just so massive that you thought you were quite close because they look like tree-sized trees. But you just keep. It's like the meme from Monty Python. Where you're just like keep coming closer from farther away. And as you approach these trees, you realize that a man could lay his whole body across the leaf without touching either edge of any
So
of
am I
these
thinking
leaves.
like World Tree from like Hunter Hunter like
I don't know. Yeah,
oh I'll post art. Hold please.
sure.
It'll be in the don't hold please, but it'll be in the Discord whenever I find it.
Okay. What's Discord? We don't use that. Oh, hey, Max. I'm late. I'm sorry. Oh, hey, Dylan. I'm doing this other thing.
Yeah, yeah. It was just that I think that we talked about it.
Yeah, but I wasn't really.
I don't
Just,
think-
you know,
I
I'm
don't
kind of
think
doing this other thing.
Yeah, you know, I know we talked. We didn't. I didn't say anything about anyone else, but I did specifically say I got distracted by Max.
JLP. Yeah. I thought you meant like in something other than this.
Oh no. I understand now, but it was still amusing. And he
Alright,
kept up
Google,
with us
you're
too.
my friend.
He even told us the information we needed.
Yes, I see that. He's so clever
So-
and informative.
We're going over the tree.
Yes. And you try and calculate how high up you need to be and miscalculate. In fact, by the time you get close enough to this tree, because of its immense size, that like you just didn't recognize the scale of it, you have to actually gain additional altitude to clear the top of it.
Vale's not too upset because he kinda wanted to get a better look at it anyway.
More like
Wait.
Laputa. Okay, yeah, okay, there you go. Not quite that big.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That's like
okay.
continentally big.
Okay. Hold please.
Yeah, somewhere in between those two with more leaves. You really want.
Is it like the Erd tree?
I don't know. You're making a lot of references that I don't know. It's like the tree I just described.
With a lot of them around it too, which is a thing that you're
It's
gonna
like four
be
of them.
hard-pressed
Four of
to
these
find.
massive redwoods that expand out. So yeah, you're soaring in. It's big. Yeah. It's big. Sure.
Roger. Thanks.
Wait, I've got this.
Yeah, find exactly the right
you
scale
big.
of tree, because it's not like the world tree. Yggdrasil.
I did it.
So,
Good job.
so we're still trying to travel to get to the top of the tree, or are we just now reaching?
You
the
are
top
now
of the tree?
ascending to clear the tops of the
It
branches.
doesn't take too long for us to do that.
No,
but
you're
we
moving
have
quite
to do
quickly.
it.
Yeah, and you are, and you have as you come over the zenith of this copse of four massive trees that kind of grow up together in a clump. And looking down, you can see many avian creatures of massive proportions, and like it's just standard birds, like it's finches and wrens and cardinals, but they could like pick up a horse.
That's
They're
big.
fluttering
I can pick up
around.
a horse.
Yes, well, stat check. What's your strength score?
20?
20?
Yeah.
You could probably pick up a horse.
Yeah. I'm a meaty dwarf.
Depends on
With
the
the
horse.
power of
Yeah,
friendship.
you could pick up a horse with a pulley system. Like you have the strength. You can't pick up a horse though because you're not tall enough.
You're too short.
Yeah, if I do this, I'm still not there.
Yeah. It's like you're just pushing on the horse's belly. He's like,
Yeah, he's gonna be uncomfortable and not like you, and kick you.
yeah.
So looking
Oh my-
down into
Yes.
the trees,
Back to D&D. It
we
can.
Into the
don't
woods.
see any, like, I don't see, like, a face looking at me, like, just straight face from the Titan.
Make a perception
Nothing.
check.
Oh, that was the reason why you wanted to look. You wanted to see if we actually saw. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I am looking for the giant thing we are here to stop that nobody sees.
I want to do that. Can I do that?
Oh,
Sure.
okay.
Sure.
That's
I said.
scary because I thought we were
Oh.
going to the meeting spot and not trying to not trying to start a fight with the
I don't
Titan.
want to start a fight.
That's
I just
what I
want to know
thought
where he
we were
is.
doing.
He can run faster than he can catch us, probably. Like we saw him. move.
Probably.
We saw him.
He
move.
could be like the land version of Aquaman and sook all of these animals on us. That's all I'm thinking of.
Can those
We're
animals
still
fly and chase
Air.
clouds?
Like we're faster than
We move a mile
a
a minute.
lot of things, Jerry. I'm not gonna say everything because it has a propensity to
Listen,
change.
we didn't.
your
All I'm saying is
thought.
we didn't expect it.
You are faster than
that
the
we could be
fastest
taken by surprise
aeromobile
easily.
creature that you're aware of.
Yes.
But you're not faster than my love for you. Can't escape it, brother.
Yeah. God,
Oh,
Jay was
about
here
the
with
love
heat
tonight.
Yeah.
I love it.
We're here for.
Yeah, so like in D&D terms, the fastest like aeromobile creature that you're aware of is probably a Pegasus. I think they have the greatest, or a rock. They have the greatest air speed.
It does. We're the fastest thing.
Yes,
When they're an unladen rock.
right, an unladen rock and or Pegasus. I think a Pegasus might be faster than a rock. I know a Pegasus can outpace a dragon. Like they're supposed to be wicked fast. Anyway,
So do we? I got 21.
superb.
I got a natural one.
Not so great. Tour, you accidentally fly into a king-sized quilt-sized maple leaf, and just
No, yeah, that tracks.
wouldn't have to skirt around it. Yeah, Mason, looking down, you can see the sort of foundational remains of Care Westfall. Just barely you can make out the outer wall. Peering through, you can see oddly enough, Care Westfall's palace has been completely destroyed. But the druidic grove that was built over eons ago has been exposed. That foundation has been exposed, and it has not been grown over. You can see like these tunnels that are now roofless, and you can see a geode chamber. It's cracked open.
Oh my God, we're so far from it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Eken slows down and thinks to everybody. What? Now. What are the odds that within that geode chamber exist a haft and a sickle?
Pretty high, I would say.
This sounds like a great idea.
What idea?
Do we
I
want to
didn't-
check?
to
Yeah.
see if there's something in if the sickle and
No,
staff are
if
inside.
this is, they should be, because we put them there.
I don't know if they were used as components to bring him back. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, Gamma was on his horn, so he came through the
Yeah, no, let's
room.
go down.
Okay, we'll descend. God, this is terrible.
All right.
Yeah, I'm so down for this.
Rapidly soaring down betwixt the trees, you can see other incredible wildlife. Massive squirrels, some raccoons. Just like as you descend down, it's a whole ecosystem. You have to dodge like a lightning bug that you could probably. His abdomen is as wide as your torso. As you're going down, as you make your way towards the Druidic foundations at the northern end of the old city wall of Caer Westfall, you can see a dim glow from the geode crystals, but it's hard to make out from here. How close are you getting?
I mean, if we're looking for the sickle and the staff specifically, I will get as close as I need to get to see the sickle and staff, or at least the stone tablet to see if that's
Okay.
intact.
As
I think
you
AJ
soar down, I'm sorry?
We'll remind the party mentally of the anti-magic field that existed because of the blood, and remind the possibility that that might still exist.
Okay. That's smart. Well done.
Damn.
Ekin is going to. Okay. Hey, Mathesis. Or are you Bell or are you Mathesis?
I think I'm Bell.
Hey, Bell. Is it possible to use the Mind Master's monocle right now and try to see closer?
Let me think about that for a second.
Not without taking a minute to become corporeal and then falling.
So not without taking a minute to become corporeal, and then falling. So
There are plenty of branches whose width is large enough to fit 4 or 5 people.
I don't think we
In
want to
line.
lose our shape. I mean, our primary objective is to
So
get to
while the
ocean.
spell lasts, the way that it works, while the spell lasts, you can spend a minute to shift forms for the duration. You can in and out as many times as you want to. It just takes 1 minute to become corporeal, and then 1 minute to become
And it
It's
lasts
an 8 hour.
cloud. It's an 8-hour spell. Non-concentration.
Well, would you like to stop for a couple minutes and check it out?
Let me take a quick look around. Yeah, looks good.
Okay.
I suppose that we'll try to find a sturdy branch that doesn't have any ravenous, rabies infected squirrels
or other poisonous things.
or
I am
other
ready
poisonous
to
things.
fight the squirrels.
Kind
Right.
of close, but not close enough to get magically.
Everyone make
debunked.
perception checks.
I can't.
I believe in you.
No. There's a condition that hasn't been met, and therefore I'm unable to.
Oh,
Perception.
Thank you.
Nice.
I got a fever. It calls for more Jerry's perception noises.
See, if Jerry doesn't say perception, I don't roll a 21.
There we go.
I also rolled.
I'm glad y'all rolled well.
21. And again, that tracks. Yep, so between you all, you're able to pick out an appropriate branch. Landing on it, there's enough space for like 3 or 4 people shoulder to shoulder across this branch before you would be threatened with the grade of the curvature of the branch, anyone falling off at all. It's just how massive it is. And this gnarled kind of plate-like bark, like pine bark, where it's like, you know what I'm talking about.
Barky.
Large flat pieces that kind of come together like cracked clay instead of, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Barky. Yes.
Yeah. Well, not all bark is like. You all land. You are startled as an enormous moth that blended in excellently with the tree is startled by you and flutters away, the gust of which threatens to send you all soaring in your smoke-like forms. But as it flutters away, you find yourselves relatively undisturbed, and you begin taking that minute to slowly recorporate from the feet up.
Hey guys, is this really a good idea?
No, maybe.
Is anything we do a good idea?
I mean,
No, yeah, all right, let's do it. That's fine.
if
Let's
we
do it.
can
That's
get
fine.
the
Are all of you recorporating?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Was that?
yeah,
no,
just in
it-
case
I don't
we
see a
get into
reason
an
why all of
encounter,
us
we
need
may-
to.
No, only I need to recorporate.
If
Well,
you get
then-
attacked
well,
while you
if-
are corporeal,
It takes a minute before any of us can respond to it. So yes,
Fair.
if anyone,
I
if-
can also yeet myself 500 feet away if I really need to,
and then
that's
and then fly.
fair, sure. Yep.
sure,
Okay.
yep, yeah. I'll let you, actually that yeah.
Okay. So
He has
we'll
the fly
say-
spell.
Not
He
o-
has.
Will is not okay with that, but Vale is.
Yeah.
I think it's 600 feet. I think it's actually 600 feet for a dimension door plus the fly spell.
Yeah.
Mathis is, sorry, Bell tells you in your mind, you're not. I have self-defenses. It would be far more dangerous for everyone to be subject to gravity from this height on this branch. So Bell begins to recorporate, taking the minute to do so as the rest of you kind of are on steady lookout. As Bell finally regains full form. With your true eyes, you get so much more color and vibrant pop. Sunlight shines down between these trees, coloring everything in lime and in bright yellow. It glints off of enormous dewdrops on the leaves, and you're just in awe of the majesty of it for a moment. For you remember what you're doing, you focus the ruby lensed monocle that floats before your face, and a purplish smoke exhumes out from behind it and forms a floating eyeball that then becomes transparent, translucent, and invisible. You can see from its perspective as you cast Arcane Eye and send it forth to investigate the geode chamber far below.
So
It moves. Yeah, go ahead.
you said that there was a crack in it. Is that right?
Yeah, so the geode chamber, when it was all underground, there were geode crystals. It was like a real geode, like grown inward from the outside, very hard, almost like an egg. It seems that when the rest of the foundation of the palace was ripped off, or however demolished, the geode itself was also shattered, and there are pieces of it that have been smashed inward. Like, think of like a massive eggshell. It's just like cracks and shattered inward. You can see sunlight barely filtering down between the trees, glinting off of those bluish crystals that you had seen when you originally delved down into this chamber. But there's not enough, without getting just the right angle, which is quite shallow to the ground, and therefore in and amongst the trees that are Caer Westfall, it's very hard to see within that crystalline structure.
So that was going to be my initial intent. Our attempt would be to try and, from a distance, glare in to see what I can get. Getting closer and closer into the crack, but I suspect that because the Arcane Eye is magic, and it dispels magic, that it'll dispel the Arcane Eye. So while I
Right.
attempt to do that, that's going to be my approach at least.
Of course. You position the eye, even this high up. It takes a little bit of time for the eye to move. It only moves 30 feet per round, and it can't dash. But more importantly, it's kind of difficult. You're having to kind of think about your surroundings and navigate, because it has 30 feet of 360-degree vision, right? But beyond that, it is blind. Like, its perceptive just vanished. Things just appear to like not be rendered beyond that. So like trying to use the eye to navigate through the forest towards your destination, it's easier in dungeons and in cities where you can recognize buildings and structures as you go along, and those things kind of manifest into the space of the eye. But through just forest, it all looks sort of similar. It's a little bit more tricky, but you are eventually able to line yourself up about 30 feet out from the geode, and from this distance, it does begin to come into the vision of the Arcane Eye, and you can see the glowing geodes from within. And you've lined yourself up just at that angle to be able to peer into the shattered crevasse exterior. You'd have to get a little closer for it to flesh out your vision. As you do so, you're make a spellcasting ability check for me. You add half proficiency because you're jack
What
of
does
all trades.
stochastic proficiency mean? Like, I don't hear that one very often.
Whatever
Spellcasting
yours-
ability. Sorry,
yeah.
it's charisma.
So charisma.
Mhm.
Okay.
But half proficiency.
Okay, so I'll just roll a flat charisma check, and then my proficiency right now is +4.
It might add it
So-
actually. It
Yeah,
might know
it might
you're.
do it on its own.
Okay.
You
It might
get jack
not.
of all trades. Other casting classes don't get proficiency on their spellcasting ability checks, strangely enough.
It didn't.
It didn't,
Do
so you
it.
add
2.
2 to that, bringing it up to a 16.
And I have psionic stuff if I if the
Yeah, I
DM
would
deems it
recommend-
necessary.
The DM will let you know before this resolves that you have not passed a specific check threshold.
20.
With that, you do pass a specific check threshold. You're able to kind of inch up on what you suspect is the anti-magic field, and peer into the crack. Within, you can see the tablet that bears the legend of the creation of the Feywilds, as written in regards to Cernanos, its progenitor, has been smashed, clapped in half, cleanly shorn, and
Like
the
that.
indentations that hold the artifacts, the sickle and the staff, are vacant.
Cool. Good to know.
So they're gone?
It's
gone,
not
gone.
great.
No, it's not great at all.
You can see also where there was
Additionally,
a ravine carved into the ground that was filled with the blood of that ancient creature that had been left behind to guard these artifacts, which has anti-magic properties. Now there is just a shattered puddle. There is still some blood, but it seems to be drying rapidly. You can see like the edges of the indentations where the stone has cracked have the markings of coagulated dried blood along them, as if the pool is drying out, and in the base you can see a very small portion of it. But the visage of the tree that had been carved into the base of it for the purposes of creating this anti-magic field has been ripped asunder.
also seems like the anti-magic field is, well, maybe not there anymore. Do I see Gamma at all?
No,
Gamma
you
was
do
on his
recall
horn.
seeing Gamma impaled upon one of the horns of Cernan
Right. You're right.
as he rose
You
up
mentioned
out of
that
the palace.
just a minute ago, too.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Well, then we have no reason to stay here, but it is good to know that the artifact is gone.
Indeed. I will dispel the arcane eye and begin to be really mystified by the entire situation.
Sure.
What's up, AJ?
I'm going to, in the middle of kind of all this going on, call out to the Earl King.
Okay.
And say, hey, look, I know that was a little snarky, and I'm sorry. I really am. I'm currently where he broke out, but he's not here. We're attending a meeting of looking at all this, our stupid little powers, to try and come up with something. Do you have any idea where he is? And would you tell me if you do? That's it.
You get an impression back of seething frustration and annoyance. You are distracting him. Just an
Well,
impression.
I'll say I'm working the other side. If you need some bloody pawn or some shit, just let me know.
He sends you a flash of an image, wreathed in green flame, to your mind, of massive titan, basically on all fours, growling at the ocean.
Why we gotta be grounded water though? Like,
The
I love water.
What?
the terrain around him has been altered by his presence. You can tell it's been exaggerated. The wildlife and has been exaggerated immensely, but it seems to be marshland and swampland, which you recognize as the sort of terrain that would be on the northernmost edge of Snowdown.
Thank you.
Just like pluff mud and mirelands.
I will say to the party in my little brain,
Mhm.
hey guys,
Sorry, could you speak up?
hey,
Oh, there it is. Sorry.
hey. So,
No, Bell says that to.
oh no, that's the response.
How loud is
this
your
thing
brain
on?
voice?
Hello?
Hello. Hello.
He said it was a little brain voice. That was his fault.
That's true.
So, good news. We could have deduced this ourselves, I suppose, kind of, theoretically. He's not here. Right?
That is
But
exceedingly
the good news is you know where he is.
Yes, he's barking at the ocean north of here in the marshes.
Barking?
You know how, like, you have an
I
angry
know.
dog on a leash and there's a cart that's running by and, like, he's barking at it?
Thank you. For...
I know what barking is, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it's like that. You asked me like you didn't know.
No, I just
But-
didn't.
You still use the word barking to define the word barking was the issue, I think, is what we're...
So he's growling at the water.
Yes.
It
Right.
may be good for us to remember that. If he's
Yeah,
very not happy with the
Well, we
water,
knew that
it
he
could be
was
the
mad
case
at
that
the water before.
it could be the case that he may be some sort of weakness to the water.
Well, he was trying to challenge the fucker, you know, that hopefully isn't actually around, by screaming out some fucking battle cry before we left, so maybe he's just trying to find him. I don't know. He hasn't gone in.
Are we traveling while we're talking, guys?
I don't know.
100%.
Yeah.
I think we're. I thought we
Yeah,
were
so
waiting
we're traveling to.
I'm just corporalizing or incorporeal.
Yeah. As soon as he's done with that,
Okay.
like, we'll be talking about that, but we're
All right.
then moving towards the.
As you make your way
Make it away.
out of the branches of the great redwoods and towards the south where the bay is, it doesn't take you long at all to see a pair of ships. And as you come closer, you realize it's much more than a pair of ships. There are small fleets in the distance, one to the north and one to the east. But there are two ships, highly decorated and ornate, that have come closer to one another in not quite at the bay, some distance away still, but are moored closely to one another. As you all descend on the scene, you can see between the ships there is a 30-foot wide space of magical force. It's created a platform floating above the ocean. There is an enormous table, long and rectangular, that has been brought from somewhere and placed on this force wall that is horizontal across the sea and placed as sort of a negotiating table. There are small parties of individuals, which from your height you can't really make out too well, gathered on either side of the table. There seems to be a cordial greeting amongst them. They each have looks to be about 4 or 5 diplomats, scholars, people taking notes and writing, recording the meeting, and then also each has a pair of what are evidently warriors in regal, ornate armor, that are standing back a ways. Fortunately, they haven't felt the need to step forward and defend their various envoys. But there are two noble-looking figures seated at the table across from one another, not at the two ends of the long table, but kind of both of them in the middle, as close as could be across this rectangular space, which is a good sign. They've got papers spread out, and they're kind of talking to one another. As you prepare to descend.
Wait, yeah, before we get there, I'm going to say, I can fly at no cost to myself. Would you like for me to corporealize and then announce our arrival before these loud wind wisps just show up?
Yeah, but be nice about it. You know.
Sure. I'll put on my best face.
I mean,
I like when you do the other one.
above
though.
table.
Mm-hmm.
Above table, we don't want you to fly out there with a sword pointed at whoever you're landing on. Like,
No, I'm not. There's no.
Good news.
Yeah, there's
He
no.
doesn't use
Yeah,
it.
why would I
use a
do
sword.
that? No
What are
one's
you
ever done that
talking
before. What are you talking about?
yeah. It's just,
Hey,
Heads
that
up.
was the one time. Listen. Whatever. Okay. The kid is going to become corporeal,
Okay,
and with
taking
no
a minute
weapon drawn, descend.
to as the smoke condenses, shifts in color and form. It's really strange to watch. Actually, you see the bones being built first, condensing like water droplets, and then from out from that, the muscle, which kind of just like wraps itself around him, coming from vapor to physical form, and then the veins and everything kind of from the inside out, until finally he is fully corporeal, using the winged boots to hold himself aloft.
Arms in front of me, crossed over each other. I will slowly descend, and I'll keep about 30 feet from, like, away from the platform where I'm planning on coming down, just so that I can see them.
Okay.
And before anyone has a chance to react to seeing this strangeness, I'll say, "Hail, ladies, gentlemen of the courts. My name is Eken, representative of the 11th Ornament. Our party, which are the ones responsible for discovering this and summoning you, has arrived. However, our presence may be a little alarming at first, so I have come to announce to you to not be alarmed."
At this, one of the scholars standing near Darryd Kendrick actually stands up, and you recognize Esfel as she
you
puts
mean
down
Darryd Kendrick? The actual Darryd Kendrick is there?
to your
Oh,
ability
the
to discern.
careful Kendricks, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Stands up and puts down her hood, and you recognize Esfel. She says, "My lieges, these are the gentlemen and
The Emperor's
women
actually here?
of whom I spoke.
Bell scoffs at the mention of gentlemen.
Please, I would request you allow them to attend." Each of them gives a nod and a welcome as Ken continues to flutter down, his arms crossed, and the rest of you
Yeah, I'll send that to the group and then go land.
begin becoming corporeal.
Yeah, see Discord.
I'll it takes a minute though, real slow. I'll let Harry Potter 5.
Slow it down a whole lot.
Yeah. As you all descend together
That's wonderful music.
and incorporate. The kings, the monarchs, do not stand. To describe them, Darryd Kendrick is a ruddy-faced, ginger-bearded man of some girth. He has at his either hip, a pair of throwing axes with ornate Celtic, Nordic knots along the interiors. They're highly gilded, very well made, it seems. He's wearing heavy leathers and wolf's furs that have been trimmed neatly to follow the curvature of the armor. He is a warrior king. Although the folk aren't necessarily known for war, they live in a war-torn place. So he has this kind of bravado. But it also is clear from the perspective of him that he has been plumped with age and luxury. This Caer Callidyr's
I want to go out.
Caer Callidyr is quite a wealthy nation. The folk have in Alaron. Thays Selimchand is a picture of opulence. He has a shaved head with gold rings in his nose, with gold chains studded with diamonds that go across to his ear. He is laden with gold and jewels. His chest is bare, and he is in magnificent physique form.
Is this like Xerxes from 300?
Yes.
See Discord.
See Discord. It very much like Xerxes. In fact, identical. Let's just go with that. He is sitting there, his fingers steepled as he regards you.
Ekin will bow, his lowest bow, say, "My lieges, 'tis a pleasure."
Darren, stand up, me boy. You've done enough to deserve it. Join us at the table. King, Emperor Selimchand. Indeed. It would seem appropriate. Please.
Alistair?
Can't wait to see how this goes over for me.
It's clear that
Sid-
Darren has clocked you immediately and recognizes you. But he kind of like understands something of the gravity of the situation and makes no comment. As you all make your way forward to the long table, Esfel rises again. My lieges, the 11th Ornament has been instrumental in discovering the plot of Eliza, which led to the downfall of Caer Westfall. Dorn, now having corporealized as well and stepping forward, makes eye contact with Esfel and kind of rolls his eyes at her flowery language and stepping in on their behalf. Clearly irked that she felt the need to stick up for them when you clearly have merits to stand on of your own, but she continues nonetheless. As we were discussing, the abomination that has become the island, and how to deal with it.
Well, my party has a couple of things that we would like to discuss on that behalf. We have actually been fortunate enough to meet with another very wise individual who is one of the last well-versed in the Titans. But I did not plan our next excursion, so if the
Esfel
lady
is
would, please.
kind of like calculating in her mind, and you kind of mentioned it over the sending to her, but she didn't realize you'd be bringing it up. She's recalculating her. You can see the gears turning in her head. She's recalculating her sort of political plays moving forward.
I'll gesture to Belle.
Talking about your bitch, like just above table. You are talking about Oobtao, right?
Yes, I don't want to bring his name into it,
Yeah.
but yeah, just the abomination of the island, how to get rid of it, what we might need from them.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're on the same page
Yeah.
because, like,
Well, we're still telepathically.
100%. But we're also like,
Yeah.
internet linked too.
Right
which is
there.
Really, really cool.
Yep, that's
We
accurate.
also like met separately again to discuss what the plan was too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Again, just don't want to mess this up. This is pretty.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
That's what just why it's like
At this
we
exact
met
moment.
separately and
Beyond the magical platform, which has sort of a prismatic glass effect as the light catches it and it shows these various colors that shift through it. It's clearly a force wall, but it's been modified to be more ornate. You can see these kind of spiral patterns that draw themselves into the surface of it. It's just this platform floating out over the ocean. Beyond that, between the ships, you can see the ocean's waves, the deep blue, break. And an enormous spine
What?
lifts up out of it.
Oh. This was only 3 of the kings we were meeting today. 2
As
of the
it
kings, sorry.
rises, continues, you realize it's not a creature, but the silvery sails of a submarine vessel, which rises
Gotcha.
up.
Okay.
Yo, what
Alright.
up, my dudes? How you doing?
Less scary. Yeah, it's less scary. Okay, great.
And from around this vessel, you can see blue-skinned, shark-like creatures with many arms, swimming and swarming, darting amongst the waves, and 2 of them disappear from sight momentarily into the depths, and then launch themselves up out of the water. Landing in a slippery, wet mass on the wall of force. 2 of them kind of collide and stand up. The guards from the 2 royal coteries pull their swords, and Estel creates a lightning between her fingers, ready to strike.
Hey,
In-
I think
I'm
they're on
gonna-
our side.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna cast tongues on Belle,
Awesome.
and also on myself if there's time to do both.
It's a 6-second
Action for
action casting? Okay. Yeah, I would say in this time there's a moment of
Interesting.
tenseness as the creatures stand and stretch. Enormous sahwagons lurk before you. Aquatic beings with gills, fins, bluish skin, and sharp teeth that line their mouths. Pure, inky black eyes stare back at you from emotionless faces. There's a moment of tenseness.
You
For
bet
the
there
one-
is.
The one in front kind of steps forward, his hands raised, all 4 of them. He has they have a Machamp physiology. He steps forward, his hands raised, clearly unarmed. When he speaks, the words that come out seem strained to you. It's as if he's capable of speaking common, but many of the syllables in common require your tongue to interact with your teeth, which would slash their tongues to ribbons. So they speak with their teeth almost completely closed. It seems he's capable and understands common, but it's rough for him to get out. He avoids certain syllables if he can. If he could choose a different word to get across the same meaning. He says, "Good day." As his voice comes out too, you can tell that he doesn't have a voice box that's accustomed to the density of air. His voice box is clearly accustomed to the density of water. So it comes out reedy and quiet. He says, "Good day. We mean you no harm. We are here on behalf of the Norls to discuss the situation with Snowdown. We hope we may be welcome in this negotiation. We were sent to collect Tor, but the situation has evolved." The 2 monarchs Darryd, looking back at Tor, knowing full well the stories of what you have done, decimating many of his merchant ships, looking back at the Sahuagin, who are seen as feared enemies of the folk, but not wanting to appear weak or afraid, and
We really do
recognizing
bring everyone together when we got this.
Yeah. Darryd sits back down. He had clearly raised up a little bit, his hand on his axe. He sits back down. Indeed, I feel as though all of the denizens of this Moonshae Islands are at risk from this creature and should therefore coalesce to fight against it. He says, putting on a brave face. But, I mean, not too much of one. He's a seasoned diplomat and warrior, but he's still, like, clearly standing a little bit. Selim chant. Common enemies make strange bedfellows. Please join us at the table. Thank you, my lords. I admit I do not represent the monarchs of either my people or the leaders of the Gnolls. I merely hope to speak on behalf of those parties in the chance that they may lend a hand in defeating this atrocity. As he walks forward and sits down, kind of far away at the end of the table. Settles in. Well, it seems we have something of a quorum now. Shall we begin talking about the problem that... an arcane gate opens nearby. Again,
What?
the Monarchs, their armored coteries, stand up at alarm, fully startled at this point.
They'll roll their eyes and sighs.
I'm eating an apple.
And
I am
through the
drinking.
gate step an elven woman with bright blonde hair tied back in a silver vine. It looks like it was grown out of silver. It's very natural.
Man.
Um,
Come on.
her pointed ears lifting up behind it, pulled into a knot behind. She's wearing very supple leather armor. It has leaf-like patterns all across it. She seems regal, gold gilt around every edge, as she steps through with a Firbolg at her side, whom you've not met before. And to her left, Graffi, the druid, whom you have been dealing with. They are the archdruid of the circles of Snowdown that had been displaced to Alaron at the beginning of all this by Erliza.
We don't recognize the elf. Is she
Or the-
the same type of elf as Isolaic?
She is not. She is not a She is not a winter
Eladrin.
Eladrin, however you want to pronounce it.
And the Firbolg is not the Firbolg that we
It
released.
is neither Manny nor
Ermina.
Armina.
That's not what I was asking. I was asking about the one that was in the...
Oh, that we let out of the cage.
Yeah, that was a prisoner.
You do not recognize this Firbolg.
It might be that one. I wouldn't recognize it. It's a fair enough answer.
As they step through,
Them.
you can see Esvel kind of... and these fine individuals join us from... I can speak for myself. Quite. Esvel responds. As the lady steps forward. I am the Princess Myrene of Serafal and Gwyneth. I was led to believe by Graffi that there was a conjunction here, the rulers and denizens of the Moonshaes in response to this threat. And I
Sid,
have
can you
left
say her
the
name one
safety-
more time?
Myrene.
Okay, thank you.
I have left the safety of our warded trees to participate. Yeah, and us too, Graffi says. What is this? What is this, AJ? What is this reaction?
Marinade.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Marinade.
Exactly. Marinade. No tea, but sure. The Fearbulk steps forward as well. I am not a member of the tribe that once lived here. But I know that my people have a stake to this land, and what's left of us are invested in the survival of the Moonjays. We hope to be involved. Esfel looks back and forth
Fantastic.
between the two monarchs. They're just... Sure, take a seat. And clearly a little bit flustered. Selim chant. Welcome to this negotiation. So they step forward and sit down. You now have at the table denizens of the Fearbulk, the Druids, the Elves of Serafal, the Sahwagan of Kresalak, who represent the Norals of Raltham to the north, King Dared Kentrick of the Folk in Alaron, and the Emperor of Am. Not to mention the 11th Ornament.
We've just gotten here and I'm already exhausted.
Is anyone else coming? Should we get more chairs?
Esfel cracks a brief smile that she hides. Dorn walks up and pulls a chair out and sits down.
I will say telepathically to the group, if someone from the Feywild shows up, I'm just going to be uncomfortable.
I will
Please
say
don't. Oh my gosh, that's what I thought happened when he said an arcane gate opens up. I was like, well, dang, okay.
Be right back.
One of them was told specifically about this meeting.
Yes, and to that end, I will give a little bit of insight. AJ, you're aware that whatever the Earl King's doing, it's very intensive and is taking up all of his attention and energy.
Oh yeah.
There's a decent chance the courts
Can't be
might
bothered.
actually be like more than just him or doing it too, like, or working on it
Well, I mean,
actively.
you know, the guy that made the realm, right?
Yeah, but also like
Cleo, come here, fucko! You're getting held
Ekin
today.
will stand up again, and as we were saying, the Lady Bell will now explain to you why you are gathered and what our plan is.
I'm gonna try to, like, when we take our spots, I'm gonna be near the Omnians so I can hear any kind of discussion they have as best as I could without
Okay.
with being discreet. Into the
Whenever
side
we
bits.
sat at the table, Ekin very much is trying to present Bell as the most
Like
regal
de facto
of us.
leader.
So
Yeah.
I will pull out her chair and push it under her, and then sit to her left.
My cloak of billowing billows.
If we're doing that, by the way,
Of
too,
course
I
it
am
does.
so near my boys.
Yeah, you walk around to the other side of the table, the far side. You have to kind of like, excuse me, and like pass through the Omnian forces to get around to
I was like, excuse
Sahawagan.
me, sorry.
And you
Push them
stand
aside.
near them.
Hey guys.
I'm so very glad that we've all met today. I'm so very glad that all of you are here. The situation we face is unprecedented, and it is rather dire for all those involved. I cannot pretend to understand what this means for all of you involved, as this is for circumstances not regarding all affecting you in a way that does not necessarily affect me and my party. However, it is the case that we have had some success in this entire situation, and we have gone to great lengths in order to find information and a way to solve this. We all have our part to play in solving this issue. What we have is information regarding how to approach a solution that does involve great peril to our own selves. We believe that we will be able to travel to speak with the God himself. More information can be given about that if you would wish. I do recognize that all of you have. All of your time is very valuable, so I'll keep it short. We're going to be traveling to speak with the God about a way to handle this Titan. And we would very much appreciate your help in any way you can in assisting us in that. And not only that, but in after the resolution of this issue, we hope that we will be able to negotiate a peaceful governance for the lands that for which we are all here on today. That's my piece.
Up until that last bit, you have the attention of everyone. Dealing with the Titan. Everyone is kind of nodding along, looking. You can see relief. Someone at this table kind of sort of knows what to do. And it's you guys. As they're kind of like, okay, alright. Powerful group of adventurers. This is similar to the routing of the dragon cult years ago. Just have them deal with this world-ending problem. I mean, as you get to the end where they talk about the governance of the island, some bristles get raised.
I recognize that this is not... Part of this conversation is very, very indesirable for all of us, and part of it is difficult, but you are leaders, and you will deal with difficult things. I know my part and know where I play. I'm not going to pretend to understand what it means to govern a nation or country or kingdom. But I'm placing this situation before you, as we see it, as those who are about to risk our lives to save it. And are coming to you who know how to rule, understanding that that will be a conversation that needs to happen.
Selm chant. It seems you are noble people, interested in the greater good. But I recognize that the greater good in and of itself is not always sufficient a reward. The Omnian Empire is willing to offer a sizable sum for you to handle this problem and return Snowdown to its rightful control. Now wait a minute. We have an extraplanar threat on our hands, and its rightful control is under that of the folk. That is not how I recall.
Iken is going to assume the form of the Oni and say, "Gentlemen, now, of all times, is not it."
Make an intimidation check with advantage.
Ooh, I don't think I get anything from the... I'm gonna
You
talk
get
later,
advantage.
but-
Yo, that's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yo, can he have my +6
Okay.
Nope.
thoughts?
Come on, baby. Okay, 14.
There's still like kind of bristles raised. They look at you. The folk of Auron and Kerkaldir will also put up a sizable reward for the 11th Ornament to handle the situation and offer us all the opportunity to sit back down at a table not unlike this on the mainland, free of this infection, to iron out its rightful owner.
It was the Omni Empire and their leadership that brought this upon this land. I don't feel like putting the burden of blame, but if you're going to take that claim, you should hold on to that too. It was your leader who you installed here who set these things in motion. So don't think that you can just pay us away and forget that. The lives that were lost that day were lives lost on your hands.
And Val gets up and leaves.
Fucking jumps in the water.
Ekin will say, "Now, my lord," looking at Thays. There was a hand, invisible in that allowed Eliza to continue doing what she was doing without action, as he cuts an eye to Darred. The blame at this table should not lie on any one person, but neither should the ownership of this land. This place, more than either of you, belonged first to the Druids and the Firbolgs. However, I will not discount the importance of Caer Westfall's economic situation.
As you say that as well, the Druids, the Graffi and the Firbolg kind of bow up. They've been kind of holding back, waiting to see how things shake out. The Graffi steps forward. You should know that the Druids will return to Snowdown, and we will support whatever government allows us to work within our own bounds and without restriction. We have a mission here beyond the boundaries of politics, and as such, whomever shall be installed should allow us to return, and if that is the case, she gestures to the Firbolg. We as well are a thriving population on Snowdown in a relationship with the Druids and the humans who once lived here. If things can be allowed to return under either or some sort of joint government, we would not be opposed. Princess Marinette, looking to either side as they talk. The elves of Gwyneth Sarafal have no interest in Snowdown, except that it is a neighborhood threat.
I would like to mention, King Derek, honestly, we've been indirectly through some bad times. That is to say, this could be an opportunity for both of our people to maybe not quite bury the hatchet, but lessen the amount of blows. If there's some sort of council, as mentioned by, I'll gesture to the Firbolg that we don't know the name of yet, and the Neurals were allowed a spot. I can't guarantee anything, I don't speak for the elders, however, I can say it might be a good way to allow us, a place where we can actually grow our own food and not have to steal to survive.
You would give up your ceremonial seat in Routham, give up the rocks, and come here to plant crops? I doubt it. Your people are vicious. Your people are bloodthirsty, and you'd rather take than do it yourself.
I think that we need to go around this feud at the moment. Again, as I said before, this is something that is going to need to be decided later on. I want to make sure that we're all on good relations whenever this conversation needs to happen. However, and she cuts her eyes at everybody, except for the Firbolg, we do have something greater at hand, and I would much rather fight it than each other. Is that something we're going to be able to do?
Ekin will pull out both missives, fly above the table, and land between the monarchs and hand them.
Darred reaches out and snatches it from your hand, opens it. Selim Chant kind of raises an eyebrow, and one of his servants hurriedly rushes forward and takes it gingerly from you and opens it for him.
And then I'll fly back.
Doesn't like to be handed things.
As they both review, the Sahawagan mentions, he says, my friend Tur has not been home in some time due to infractions against his sovereignty dealt by certain individuals. I have had a chance to speak with the councils of Routham and the Norals about the proposition of taking land holdings and striking a deal with the folk. You can see a little bit of blood rip into his lower lip when he says folk, because there's no way to say the proper noun without his lower lip touching his teeth. He says it nonetheless, a little bit of spittle riding down his lips. There is some interest in this negotiation. I cannot guarantee any promises. I am here to speak on behalf of the council in regards to protecting Snowdown from the threat.
What we have here with each other today is something that is far more dangerous than any political tug that is going to be sown throughout your histories. Let's not waste a good crisis, gentlemen. This is a time for new growth, as it seems. Let's not waste it.
This is the best time for that word, but...
I said what I said.
Selim Chant reads it over and says, this is an interesting offer. I am not willing at this time to put my name on any paper. However, I am in agreement with King Kendrick. If the 11th Ornament is able to deal with this problem and return Snowdown to some semblance of normalcy, where there is little threat to mortal kind, such that it can be profitable and safe for everyone, again, I guarantee that Arm will arrive at the negotiating table with an open mind and an interest in peaceful relations. Jared kind of is puffed up at first with his language, kind of backs off. Right then. Seems like you have done quite a bit of legwork on solving this. Our jobs, he points to the princess and the emperor, the other leaders, are to make sure that the people that we are responsible for are safe and happy. We have no skill in dealing with monumental threats like this. You arrive here offering not a solution perhaps, but the beginnings of one. I think we're all in agreement that if there is anything that we can provide to further the chances of that success, the second part of the negotiations here, the part that we originally arrived here for, can take place on the safety of dry land, on a whole and repaired Snowdown.
Bell will say in everybody's minds, let's see if anybody else has anything to say before we speak.
Before I get into what we need, I want to tell them a bit about what's happening with the island too. I'll tell you that. I want to say, hey, so before 100%. We get into this,
100%.
Back up, stay away from the boundary as it expands.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but
at this, Marinette says, I mean no offense when I say I am surprised at the civility of mankind here. I agree. such a negotiation should take place when the island is safe. And I also offer the aid of Gwyneth and Seraphal in whatever we may do to increase your chances of success.
Now then.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No, what are you gonna say?
The Sahuagin steps forward.
My people are poorly represented amongst the surface dwellers, no doubt, but we do live here. And we are threatened by this. I do not know what we may provide. But if there is something, I am authorized to give it.
There's a chance that where you live provides enough of a I don't know. I feel like the water is dangerous, probably with heat and expanding, but
We have made note and heard from creatures to the north and our scouting passes. Titan makes way for the north of Snowden. An attempt to cross between the most shallow and narrow land masses, which would lead him to Alaron next,
He says, looking at Darren.
if he is capable of building a land bridge, or fording the shallows across the Archipelago. We are all in danger, actually.
I will say to Ken, telepathically, so if everyone agrees to help, it might be a good idea to have a contract, an accord, if you will, so that no one does anything wrong while we're
They
While we're
just said
trying
that
to
they
save the
weren't
world.
willing to sign it.
They weren't willing to sign this agreement of government for Snowdown, but I'm sure they might be willing to sign an accord saying they would all be willing to help defend Snowdown from its destruction.
Fair.
Maybe also include somewhat of a truce in there.
Ekin will
sort?
kind of look up and go, "Gentlemen, an accord, an addendum. If you would allow my colleagues and I, the third party who will be dealing with this threat for you, to draft a treatise, a veritable sea treaty for you.
Our goal is to
ensuring-
make sure that we don't have a second problem happening while we're trying to solve the first.
This is understandable. If this treaty adheres to the agreements I have already verbally made, I will happily sign it.
Ekin gets his pen, his paintbrush and ink and paper out right in front of them and begins writing.
As my colleague draws this up, go, sorry.
No, I was just saying, you see, Esbel feels like, you can tell she's been caught up and blown away by she no longer has a handle on the politics, which is uncommon for her. She's used to pulling the strings and managing the situation, but she is just...
That's kind of... I had a question about that, actually, because from what we gathered, this is like, I guess player gathered, is that she was trying to be the mediator and be the one so she can, at the end, say that she was pivotal in this.
That
point.
is
In fact,
her...
She is not.
That is her
I straight
modus
up want-
operandi.
Yeah,
Yes.
I want to do an
some point-
insight check.
we thought that she was. I thought that she was, and we really just didn't need the help because they were responsive.
Yeah, it seems that situations have driven these monarchs
Yes.
to do more for you and your goal than she needed to be involved with. If you'd like to make an
and
insight check, of course.
And like Alucard feels like one of her fears is probably the fear of being irrelevant in her own ambition, to be so like he just finds it amusing, one.
Of course.
But I'm just curious. I want to know how much of this how effective she is. Insight. I have nothing to this except for 1, and I hate to use Tides of Chaos for this. Let's see what happens. Okay.
Please use Tides of Chaos for this.
It won't trigger it. It won't trigger a call once he has to do
I'm
it
using
again.
Tides of Chaos. I'm using Tides of Chaos. Lord, not.
Okay.
Please roll another
No.
natural 1 and then make it trigger. So I have the stream up on my TV, and when I said that, the die the natural 1 rolled again, but on the stream actually for me.
It's delayed.
And
Yeah.
I just looked. I was like, oh my god, no way.
A 14 on the second one. You're able to determine that she's not incredibly flustered, but she has some disappointment that she didn't have as heavy a hand as she might have wanted in directing the negotiations. But you can also tell that she is pleased that negotiations are going in the direction that they seem to be. It seems that she truly did have, although she may have had ulterior motives on top of those, she was vying for the same outcomes you were, naturally.
She'll be able to spin this anyway.
Yes, of course.
Ekin will draft a letter.
Can I do something while you're doing
protection.
that?
Of course.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I would add
Please
the
continue.
names of, not the names, but I would add the Suffwagen, Norals, Elves, Druids, and Firbolgs to this contract where they were not on the previous one.
Okay. And it's an accord pledging aid to the 11th Ornament
And
for the purpose
protection, yes,
Of Snowdown.
exactly.
Yeah.
for the purpose of ending the plight of the Titan. And there's a rider
The
in there as
plight of
well,
the Titan.
indicating that once the Titan is dealt with, a
There will be
peaceful
secondary
negotiation
negotiations.
will take place in regards to the ownership and governance of Snowdown.
Yes.
Am I getting that all? Okay.
Yes, that's great. I have a question. So, Faye said something like, as long as something I previously said is taken into account, I will sign it. But I don't know what he's referencing.
He's just saying that as long as the contract you're writing up is no different than what he has already verbally agreed to, he will sign it. He's saying his.
Oh, okay.
In fact,
gotcha,
you get
gotcha.
kind of a haughty sense from him that he thinks his word is as good as any contract. Like, he doesn't need to sign it because he said he would do it, but he will sign it if you absolutely require it. It's kind of the impression he got when he said that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Bell will address the leaders and say, as my compatriot draws this accord, allow me to inform you of what we know, what we intend to do, and in hopes that this will prompt you to offer assistance where you see that you can. We have, we have been given information that lets us know that the god Ao may have some information, may have an ability, may have something for us to be able to defeat this Titan. We have acquired means to travel upon the River Styx in order to go to Ao himself. What we do not have at this point are a way to get to the underdark city of, what's it called?
Menzoberranzan.
Benzoberranzan, where we know that there is indeed
Close enough.
there is indeed a spot for the River Styx itself. What we do not have are funds in order to equip ourselves as necessary for this sort of journey.
Or the connections within the Drow kingdom to make safe passage.
At the mention of Menzoberranzan, Princess Marinée of the Seraphal High Elves of the Wood narrows her eyes. A dangerous journey indeed, if you mean to travel the River Styx. I assume
There's
you have
kind
payment.
of a Titan. We do have payments, and I'll produce the coin.
Oh, don't show the coin. I'll say in my head.
Her
before he
eyes,
does
for the
that.
first time, you can see her eyes widen, and she sits down.
I'll put it back in my pocket.
The Sahuagin looks around. There being no one coming forth on assistance with Minzo Baranzan, he looks.
There are deep paths to the Underdark floor. Tunnels that burrow into ancient lakes. Ways to places far beneath the sunlight. My people
Is-
know these paths well and trade on occasion with the elves that you mentioned.
We would be grateful for assistance in traveling there. We understand this is dangerous. We understand that this is dangerous. We are offering to do this on all of your behalves. We would very much appreciate any assistance that you may be able to offer to us.
Indeed. As I've mentioned, I would offer a handsome reward for this work. I know you can't just be doing it out of the goodness of your hearts. Not that I think you need the motivation. As far as what I can do to help, I can offer you a safe passage. I can offer you ships to anywhere along the Sword Coast. I can offer you hearth and home for as long as you might need it in Alaron, but I haven't much more to offer at this time.
So,
Do you have a way to teleport?
I have limited teleportation capability. Esfel says, I do as well, although I know
To
not the
Minzo
appropriate.
Baranzan.
Unfortunately, no. The teleportation circles beneath the surface of the earth are far more difficult. They involve at least 23 extra runes because of the altitudinal adjustment needed in the circle, and the additional permutations alone, even if I knew exactly where it was. No, unfortunately, I don't.
What about Waterdeep?
I can offer you transport to Waterdeep any day of the week. Ships go in there all the time. And fast ones. We have trade going in and out all the time.
It's good to know.
Bell just waits for anyone else to speak up.
weird question. Just curious. You said you're offering a reward for the Just so we understand, what might that be?
Well, you'd have the favour of the High King of the Moonshae Isles. I'm sure we could come up with a reasonable reward for such a venture. At this, the Omnian Emperor Selimchan kind of smirks.
Ekan
would
will
also
not
offer
so
a reward.
subtly look straight at his finger.
I was waiting because I above table can't say anything because I know nothing. But I was thinking,
Yeah.
I need someone to ask about the ring. I need someone to look for the ring because I can't. My character doesn't know about it.
Selimchan kind of smirks. We would also offer a reward for a job well done, but we would, in addition to that, be more than happy to fund this expedition from the start. In my armada, I am well equipped and prepared to offer you a small fortune to equip yourselves for this journey.
It's very generous of you.
You can see he's clearly grandstanding again with the other monarchs around.
Yeah.
And
Can-
because in
can-
wealth is
Mhm.
everything. So
Yeah.
he's kind of showing off his wealth at this point. To your benefit, it seems.
Completely fine with that.
Is it fair to assume that he might also be trying to
curry favor with the people that are
Curry,
gonna
there
be...
we go. Thank you. I could not think of the term. Curry favor for later
Oh,
negotiations.
certainly.
Yeah, okay,
You
gotcha.
know from the start, based on just the way that the Omnian culture works, he's trying to buy Care Westfall back.
Hmm.
That's just how his mind works, how the thought process is going.
Belle recognizes this, right? She's a courtier. She
Yes.
knows what's up.
I would say so.
She's 100% okay with him wanting to buy what she knows he might not be able to. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, grandstand. Go ahead, grandstand. 100%.
So-
We still got to negotiate later.
Did Espo say she could get us to Waterdeep, or did she not say that?
She says she has that ability.
Okay.
Yes, she can get you to Waterdeep, certainly. She knows a contact in the Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors. A very competent and gentlemanly fellow whom she can reach out to provide her the teleportation ring to arrive in Waterdeep.
What's in Waterdeep? I forgot.
All kinds of
The
stuff.
dark elves that are going to help us negotiate our way through Minzobaranzan, the ones that don't
Yes,
worship
the male
evil.
dark elves.
Right,
So
right.
you do know. So dark elves are a matrony. Females have a lot of power. Males are second-hand citizens at best. This is a group of male dark elves who've defected from the Spider Queen, Lolth, and all of the teachings of the. It's also a theocracy. The whole dark elf society is are generally worshippers of Lolth, who's an evil goddess of the night and dark and spiders. And they have defected from that whole situation and are seeking a legitimate, reasonable life nearer the surface with surface dwellers. According to your Harper contacts. In fact, I think Mathis has discovered that from Patak.
I remember that now as soon as you said
Yep.
it. All right. Well, we would be more than happy, or be very grateful, in fact, and she'll turn to the Sudwagon, for your assistance in traveling to Minzobaranzan once we are equipped. She'll turn to Esvel. For your assistance in traveling to Waterdeep, where we believe we may have some contacts and more information that will aid us in this. She'll turn to Derek and say, for your ability to offer us a place of safe operation while we're doing here, and then turn to the Omnians, and for any assistance you may be able to provide in equipping us in this journey. Then she'll turn to the Druids and the Firbolg. We understand that this whole situation hurts you most, as this is your land. We're doing this for you in all of this.
Belle, I wish there was more we could offer you, Graffy says. We've been with you through the thick of this, but my people, we can't be caught up in this madness.
And we wouldn't ask you to.
There were some of my kind who were left behind at the Druid Grove at Snowdown when this happened. She points to the trees. They were driven to some kind of wild madness. They used what magic they had learned through ancient rites and rituals, druidic religion, to become monstrous creatures, and lost all sense of themselves. They have become beasts, and they will not return to us. They will not, they choose not to. They are under some sort of spell. If there is anyone in those woods who can be rescued from them, it's selfish of me to wonder if my people can survive when there are so many who haven't.
Don't think it's selfish at all. We'll add that to the whiteboard.
What's up, Will?
If things do, if it takes us a while to get to get this through, and he does progress. Keep any scouts, anything, keep them beyond whatever his barrier is.
Last I heard, he was causing a bridge of lily pads, whose stems were as wide as my thigh, to sprout from the marshland across to the islands to the north, at South Gred Heed. And Kethis at this derrick. Kethis, you say? Well, this is more dire than I thought.
He has as of yet been unable to string the marshes. There is not enough earth for him to grow. And we have been cutting back what we can from beneath. But the shallows are not our home. I do not think we can hold him back long.
In Bell's head, I would say we're probably going to need some type of way of communicating with the people who are actively scouting what Xenanos is doing, so that we can get updates, because that might assist us in knowing what we're going to say to AO.
It may be the case that it would be beneficial for us in being able to keep track of what's going on if we were able to have someone keep an eye on the growth, be able to report to us with how the progress. It may also be the case that we may need to mobilize some sort of force in order to keep this land bridge at bay. If he reaches Aileron, I fear the fate will be the same as that of Snowdon.
I agree, Graffy says. Me and mine can soar over the ocean and swim through the seas and keep an eye and communicate with one another through our ancient ways. I don't have any way to contact you directly. And this Estel speaks up. I will stay with Graffy and the druids. Whatever she relays to me, I will be able to relay to you.
Wonderful.
Eken is going to say in Dorn's head. Convenient. What do you have to say in this?
Nothing. As of yet, she's playing to our ends. Her goals will become apparent soon enough. We have to wait for that before we can react. Reacting sooner will only be playing into her hands. She will have anticipated it. Whatever we do, she'll have a plan for it.
Wise. Eken will hold up the wax, the sealing wax that he bought, and say, could someone please melt this for me?
Smelt, you said?
Melt. And then he will melt some of the wax and then impress the 11th Ornament seal into it and say, the contract is done. Those who would sign and see peace brought to this land, at least for a short time, do so now. And he begins with his name.
Okay. I assume the rest of the 11th Ornament have a chance to sign before passing it.
Yes.
Okay. But they, at least Dorn does. I'm not going to speak for the rest of you. I assume you do.
Yeah. Bell writes, just Bell.
The Yell of the Moon.
Alucard. Right. Alucard. Besivar Cordrake. There we go. That's how you say that.
Big and obnoxious. Poor Yordclo.
Yep. Okay. Leaving very little room, Mr. Hancock. Dorn, like I said, signs Dorn Greycastle. Passing it first to Darrett Kendrick, to his Dorn's left. Darrett signs it modestly. Passes it. Sahawagan reaches over and kind of awkwardly holds the pen, but manages to make a mark that looks like an alpha, a Greek alpha, but it's ridged like a shark's tooth. Up and down. And just leaves that. Passes it on to, at this point, passes it on to Tor, who is signing not necessarily for the 11th Ornament, but signing on behalf of the Norals. Before Tor passes it to, she's going around the table, passes to Selimchant. He doesn't touch it. His scribe runs forward and signs his name. He takes the pen at the very end after the name is signed and pricks his finger and puts it as a period at the end of his name and passes it on. The Firbolg.
Just make a mark, my friend.
Puts a thumbprint, like dips in the ink. Puts a thumbprint
That is reasonable.
That's fair.
on it. Passes it to Marinette, signs in Elven. And then finally to Graphy. She signs her name in Druidic. You can see Druidic script. Seems we've come to an accord. Selimchant makes a motion with his hand, and a couple of moments later, from the ship closest by, a plank is thrown onto the force floor that has been summoned, apparently by Esvel. And a couple of people carrying a chest walk forward. The chest is itself made of granite with gold rams facing one another, butting heads emblazoned on the front. Incredible gold rope knotwork all around the edges. And it's placed in front of the 11th Ornament.
This is from Thays?
Yes, Thays Selimchant.
Okay.
Iken will bow. Most gracious, my liege.
May this be an offer to help you arm yourselves for the challenge to come, and a taste of what armed may be able to offer its allies in the future.
Bell maintains composure and does not let the absolute sheer excitement show in her face.
Alucard visibly smirks. More so because of the form of manipulation he's employing, less because he's excited about what's in the chest.
Iken has no emotion.
Does any of you open the chest?
I'll open
Not
it.
here.
Oh.
Oh.
Alucard
okay.
peeks inside. Alucard, you can make an intelligence check for me real quick to
Okay.
guesstimate the.
This seems like a very Alucard thing to do. Just a small peek.
Oh yeah.
And just gonna have the reaction of, oh dear God.
I'm gonna because I want to put on a show that I'm like impressed by it because I want to also play the game.
Oh, sure.
So real quick, point of order. Last time I rolled, realized I had failed, and then rolled again. That's a different feat that I have. So it was not Tides of Chaos. It was
What is that feat?
magical guidance.
Magical guidance. Tides of Chaos lets you roll before you know if you fail
With
or not.
advantage, yeah. Yeah, you roll with advantage.
But you have to decide before
Roll.
you know if you fail or succeed.
You have to decide before you roll if you're going to use advantage or not for Tides of Chaos. I
Okay.
used the different feet. That's why I changed.
Yes.
So I had to use the sorcery. I just let you know, just so.
Okay. Yes,
Um,
reasonable. Are you Tides of Chaosing this roll?
I am because of the fact that I have a -1 to my intelligence.
Intelligence.
So,
Okay.
here we go.
Woo.
Ooh, great. Great.
Great work today.
All right. You are, despite
You're
your relatively poor spatial awareness. You're very good at calculating money. It's like seeing money all in one place. You open it and see that there are stacks of platinum coin.
Oh my god.
Doing some quick algebra in your head, it seems to you that there are probably 7,500 platinum pieces.
Dude, we could pay off. Hold on. We could pay off the Black Cat Inn's debt and still have 5,000 platinum.
Yes,
No.
and still.
Okay,
What do you
so
mean, no? It's 20,000 gold. That's 2,000 platinum.
Yeah, we could do that, is what I'm saying. But why would we do that with this money?
Because what are we gonna do with 70,000 gold worth of platinum? Okay, alright.
okay, so Alucard,
Anything we want? I don't
can
know.
can I? Is there a roll?
It's
You're right.
it's 7,500 platinum pieces. For you to put it on your character sheets, it is the equivalent of 75,000 gold.
Uh-huh.
Put that in the
So-
bag. Put that in the shared bag.
Can I would like to. I'm gonna put on like so. I open it and like I'm
Mhm.
hoping that like maybe opening the chest obscures my face slightly, and I see because I open, I look, I'm like, okay, that's a lot. And then I want to like make him. I'm gonna stroke Faze's ego. So I don't know if I need to roll a check,
Deception?
but
No, I think probably performance. Persuasion.
yeah,
Persuasion.
persuasion. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's being deceptive. I think he's.
How much does, with that intelligence check, does he know how much the chest is worth?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I can do magical guidance multiple times. Okay, a day. So okay, I thought I just do it once a day, but I can do it once. Okay.
With sorcery
Here's
points,
a
yes.
persuasion check.
Mhm.
You said okay. Oh, that's
Wow.
fine. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Please persuade.
That was a
Oh.
16 on the dice? Oh my god.
Emperor, this is so generous of you. We are so very thankful that Arm is willing to provide such a grand amount purely for the salvation of Snowdown. Thank you.
Lay it on, Jerry.
Yes, indeed. We are very committed to the safety of Snowdown and its people.
I guarantee it would not go to waste. There are I have a whole 8 days left. I could do much more than alcohol, but
I want to do a one shot where it's just how fast can Alucard drink 75,000 gold?
Dude, what are the items that are going to be available in Waterdeep that Sid has just given us 75,000 gold?
It's gonna be one item.
And but
gonna be like a
that's
little-
the thing. Like you say that, like we haven't looked at the prices of things and never been even close to touching them because of that. Like we can buy 2 things with this.
There are very few things that cost more than like
Well,
25,000.
anyway.
Well, we
So,
do appreciate.
so I'll close the chest. Yeah.
Also, we could get way more if we just sell Snowdown at the end. Above table.
Let's say this for
To Arm.
times.
He's trying to buy it.
All right, give me 23 of those chests. You can have Snowdown.
yeah.
He would write the
We
check.
just got rid
I
of a
believe-
Titan, so I guess we'll give this to you because we can. Hopefully that happens first. Yeah, Ekin will pull it back. Okay. It seems we are all in temporary agreement. He'll take the paper back and fold it and put it inside of his satchel. As the authors of this accord, we will keep it and keep everyone who has signed it to it, giving a glance around the room.
At this as well, Princess Marinette fabricates 5 copies of the exact replica.
Perfect.
Oh, that's neat. Jonathan says above table.
And disperses them. So that everyone may be aware of what you have agreed to.
Thank you.
I
My lady.
anticipate it be held.
We thank you all for being here, for your willingness to band together for the sake of Snowdown, and indeed, the greater good of all. We will embark to Waterdeep tomorrow to begin this journey.
Why not today?
Because
He
I said
says in her
tomorrow.
head. Okay.
Because I said tomorrow.
But can we actually do it today, though?
Sure, whatever.
Ekin begins to focus on his minute of incorporealizing.
That's not gonna get us there.
No, but it'll get us away from here.
But your
Who
way
is-
to get to Waterdeep is Esfel?
Yeah. Alright, he just wants to look cool when he leaves. Stop it.
Okay.
Yeah, no one else is gonna do it.
With things like slightly wrapping up.
Yeah. You can see, in fact, at this point, the what the Norals and the folk refer to as the witches, the elven witches of Serafal, who never come out of their forests and never interact with the outside world and are not to be trusted in any way. Almost as bad as fairies. Marinette stands up. Until we meet again, feel free to contact me with any questions or aid you may need. She opens a gate and steps through. As Graphy stands up to follow, she's like,
Okay,
walk
I
through.
actually won't become wind. Whatever.
You can.
Poor kid.
No, it's fine.
The
We'll just
Fearbog
walk
also
up.
follows, and the gate closes. Silemchant also stands up, and all of his coterie surrounds him. Until we meet again. And
Ekin
bows
gives a
out
bow.
and heads back down the plank to his ship. Darrett stands up, and his men begin running the plank up to the force platform. And they, a little bit less disciplined, a little bit less severe than the Omnians, but all hardy, salt of the earth kind of men.
What's up, AJ?
Kind of. I can't. Yeah, you have to say something.
Oh,
I can only
apologies.
see. I can only see the person who talked last.
Ah, I see. Apologies. As King Derek goes on his way, Tor will say, with all due respect, just remember that we haven't had another way. We'll talk about it later.
I suppose we've agreed that we will.
Just want to let you simmer on that.
He stalks away down the plank with his men. The Sahuagin turn to you.
Good sir, we were sent here to collect you and bring you home.
You did quite a good job, and in fact, in my stead, would you please provide them this? And I pull out Erliza's head.
Okay.
He seems to shiver at the smell of fresh blood.
Oh, it ain't fresh.
It's not really fresh.
It's not really fresh, but I guess blood.
What am I
It's
supposed to
also
do with all
been.
these
It's also.
bodies?
It's also been with that Chilton heat. In that Chilton heat, I mean, it's probably
It's
just
still
smelling
only 2 days
terrible.
old.
I think that we actually did, even though we joked, but I think we did actually cast Gentle Repose on it.
Oh,
You put it in
okay.
the chest of colding?
Yes.
No, I think
Yeah.
that we I asked hey, can I find a way to attach keep the coins there as the head? I think we
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about it at least a little bit.
Okay.
Anyways, at the smell of flesh and blood, he shivers.
I can make sure this is delivered home.
With a message of open-mindedness.
Yours and mine are not so known for their quality.
You're absolutely correct. But if I can see it, then I feel like any one of us could.
Perhaps you will lead us all to it.
If only we could be so lucky.
He turns around and his ship kind of rises a little bit up out of the water, and you can see a couple of other Sahawagans climb up. You can see this guy who towers above the tallest humanoid at the negotiation table here is kind of a runt compared to the people, his countrymen down below, who are massive hulking beasts. And he prepares to return. He's clearly a diplomat. He's kind of a scrawny bookkeeper compared to his more warrior-like people and their proclivities. He turns to leave.
When you're ready to journey into the Underdark, we have passages and ways. We can get you close, but not to the river itself.
That is all we ask.
What's the name of the things that we use to, like, the Norals and all of us use to communicate the fucking things?
Albatross, birds, great big wide-winged birds that can soar for hours without flapping their wings.
Do I have... I don't have ease of access to that, do I?
No, they're specifically domesticated and well trained amongst. Like, you can't just like go grab a wild albatross and send it on.
Right, for sure.
It's like you have a rookery or something.
Right.
I will then say, or ask, rather, how exactly would you like us to contact you?
Common to Gressark. Drop something in the ocean above our city that we would recognize.
If I drop it, will it come back?
Any token of yours. We will come and
pull-
collect you.
I kind of show my axe. You think he'll,
Perhaps something that won't murder one of us if it falls.
Okay. Listen, you're all pretty hardy, aren't you?
No, only our warriors. We have women and children too.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll figure it out.
You will be the first surface dwellers to enter our home in well over 2 centuries.
I suppose it should be, what, the heroes of, at this point, the world? Is that right? Is that what we are?
As it is shaping up to be, it would seem.
New group name, Heroes of the World.
From a small town, little
Perhaps-
pirate to, this. Look at that.
Perhaps a stone with an emblem on it or something of the sort. Just drop it into the sea and we will come and collect you.
Sure.
Or if you have such magics to contact us.
I'm sure that one of these do. Bill, you can do that?
My name is Krexkaskier.
Oh.
Good luck.
I understood
Tried
that.
it.
I
Tried
did.
it.
I understood it exactly. Because I cast tongues on myself.
I thought you cast tongues on
I
Jeff.
want you.
I
I want you
cast
to
it on both
give
of us.
it overtime. What? Okay.
That's not
alright.
what you said.
Krexkaskier. Yeah, it is.
That may have been what you said, but that's still a crazy name. Crazy name.
I hope that, truthfully, I hope that Sid made that up. 'Cause that's an awesome name.
Yeah, absolutely on the spot, 100%.
Very well. As well.
Yes. As the Sahuagin pad away, their moist, flippered feet slapping against the force wall, and gracefully dive into the sea.
I know that Bell has said we might want to leave tomorrow, but given how much growth has happened between yesterday and today, and Speak up if you think I'm wrong, he says, looking at the rest of the 11th ornament. We need to go. Can you do this?
I'm afraid I cannot. I have expended quite a lot of energy to bring us all together. Sendings to coordinate this platform that we stand upon for the duration, conjuring the table. Even I have my own limits. I apologize. We'll have to wait for tomorrow.
Where are you going for this evening?
I will board one of the vessels, probably with Kendrick. I have better mead.
Are we...
That is true.
He said we are welcome. Does that mean on his ship as well?
I am certain, but you would have to ask. He offered an invitation. That's not something that people of the Moonshades do lightly. Consider their dealings with the Fae. Hospitality is the first law.
He says in the minds of the rest of the 11th. Well, it feels like not much of the day has gone by, but I am exhausted.
Belle feels slightly vindicated in her tomorrow statement now. Of course I knew she needed to take a day. Obviously she would have been a part of it.
I mean, I'm fine with sleeping. I mean, not sleeping, but at least this is mentally taxing. This whole
Yeah.
like political thing.
Can't everybody just take a nap and be fine?
Warlocks. Am I right?
Monks.
Alucard, you know what I'm talking about, right? You can't. You got
Sure.
me, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
30
that's all
minutes,
I'm
let's
saying.
go.
An hour? An hour.
2 30 minutes back to back.
Yes, thank you, Will, for the gifts.
The gifts that keep on giving.
The gifts
Oh,
they
yes.
keep on giving. I wish that Twitch chat supported gifts.
So I guess we get on,
Alright.
well, okay.
Or-
Walk up to Darred's men.
Chat.
Yeah, they're walking down the plank now. There's a couple of them still. The armored men who are guarding the entrance to the plank are the last two left. The rest are kind of making their way down to the ship.
It appears we will have to wait for the day. Can we stay on your ship?
Aye, you've been offered hospitality by the king. Please feel
Thank
free
you.
to board. Permission
The
granted.
kin will now take a minute to become incorporeal to go onto the ship.
Right. Esfel will allow the illusion of the table, which has been made corporeal by her will, to dissolve. She seems to let out a bit of effort.
All others being clear, I will dispel the platform.
Yep, going onto the ship.
Going on a ship, in our shippy ship. Going on the ship, getting on the ship.
And that is where we will conclude for this evening. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for this exciting adventure into the world of politics. Next week, on the 11th Ornament, the party decides how to spend an ungodly amount of money, probably very quickly, and how to descend into the Underdark. We shall see, we shall see. Looking forward to meeting with you all again next Sunday. Any wrap-up questions before we close?
I say we buy a Spelljammer.
I don't think you can afford a Spelljammer.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta hop off,
Or
guys.
an airship.
All right.
Night, Jonathan.
Good night, Jonathan.
All right, see y'all.
I don't think the airship's gonna
Right.
help us get at the Underdark.
I know.
Airship.
I know.
Yep.
I know.
I don't know if you can. Can you buy an airship for 75k?
I think I think that it's actually less than you think it should be.
Honestly, we could probably buy our way through Menza, Baranzan, and back with 75k.
You say that, but it's a theocracy. Where they're like,
I can be Priestley.
Are you a female drow?
yeah, because if
You
you're
don't know
not,
that.
you're gonna struggle.
I didn't.
Hey,
say
the
do
one
I
person
know
who
that.
can
I asked
become a
Archie.
female drow just bounced from the chat, so
Yeah, that's true.
get in touch with him. Am I right? Okay, hey guys,
Uh-huh.
catch you all next week. Thanks for joining. Peace.